All right, what's up, guys? Back in with another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to ace an interview. I recently just got done doing an interview 2 days ago. I killed it. I got the job, and I kind of just want to talk about what you need to do to be able to just ace an interview. So the first thing we're going to go over is just the kind of initial setting and what you can really do to just make sure you get that initial awkwardness out of the way. I feel like that's kind of the first problem that everyone runs into when, just having an employer kind of approach you and, get into the interview. So a lot of the times if the interview isn't online, which is pretty rare for most jobs nowadays, unless it's like an online job that's remote, a lot of the times you're going to have an in-person interview, right? A lot of times you're going to be walking into the building. It's going to be, just a building kind of setting. Best thing to do if there's a front desk approach, a lot of times you'll get told to, hey, I'm here for this guy, yada, yada, yada. If you don't, stress, hey, I'm here for an interview. It gets the question out of the way, it gets everything out of the way quickly, and then you're able to just go sit down and wait for the employer to come. I know this is kind of extra, but like I said, it's important just, for the initial step. You don't want to be walking around. You don't want to look stupid, right? You want to look like you know what you're doing. You're there to that's what you're there for. You're there for the interview and that's it. So now let's talk a little more about you're in the interview. The employer has you set up. You guys are probably in an office. You guys are probably in a room sitting down, right? First thing I'm going to go over, it's honestly the most important, is make sure your posture's good, make sure you're attentive, make sure you're holding eye contact, make sure you are interested in learning what it is the employer is telling you. Because a lot of the times employers are going to question you further about what you guys are talking about and just, kind of sitting there going, oh, I don't know. It makes you look dumb and it makes you look like you're just not interested in the job and that you're not going to be the right fit. So yeah, just make sure that you are staying attentive. Like I say, a good posture, good eye contact, just overall a good figure is something all employers want to see. You don't want to see some guy slouched. He's, slurring his words. He's not really attentive, right? Like no one wants to see that as an employer. I mean, it's just kind of basic knowledge, but you'd be surprised that not a lot of people realize that. So the next thing we're going to get into is a little more about the number side of it. If you're getting a kind of job like me, it was a marketing position and there was a lot of numbers to go over. A lot of the time the employer is just, going to talk about the benefits and, just the overall pay and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you jot some of these numbers down. Don't be afraid, I know as crazy as it sounds, to bring a notepad in with you. If an employer sees you writing down the numbers you're interested in, that you want to remember, that goes a super long way. That can be an easy way to just ace an interview right off the bat. It immediately shows that you're that interested in, that you want to know the numbers, that you want to know the front and back end of the whole entire business. So yeah, just kind of a little bit of a detail, just a subtle little touch, doesn't hurt. It's not illegal to just bring a notepad in, bring something in that you can write stuff down. Most of the time, the employer will be writing down a lot of the stuff on a pamphlet that they will then be giving you. But like I said, if you bring it in, it shows that extra, attention to detail. So now we're going to get into is the employer is obviously going to know what it is that you're interested in with getting this job. So the number one thing you're going to want to get off your chest first is just that you're eager to learn, that you're just looking to get into a different field. If it is a different field that you're getting into, or even maybe if you're, getting into a job that you already have experience in, you just want to stress that you're wanting to learn, you're wanting to experience new options, to learn, new categories, right? Like anything to do with just learning. A lot of the times employers want to see people who are wanting to just understand the job, learn from it, take the knowledge down and just be an absolute beast at what they're doing. So off the bat, get that out of the way. Don't even hesitate to just let them know as soon as they ask you that question that you're here to learn, you're here to be the best, do the best. And eventually they're obviously going to get to the part of, do you have any past experience? What's your experience? What was your last job? A lot of the times these employers, they're going to ask these things, right? Now, if you have experience already in this category of work, immediately get that out of the way. They're going to love to hear that because that basically shows that you have experience in this field, a thing or two, and there's not, much training to be done, but the basics of just, what that job is specific for. So once you get that out of the way, they're going to want to know your past history if you don't have experience. And that is obviously that, once again, don't be afraid to bring up that I'm coming from this, it's not exactly related to that. Don't say that, just let them know easily that, hey, I'm coming from here. But I know this is a different path. I'm looking to just go down a different path. I'm eager to learn this path. It's all about letting them know that you are here to try either something new or be the best at something you already know. So off the topic of just, being eager to learn all that, you got that covered. You walk in, you let them know right there. They know what you want. Okay. Now, obviously, you got to figure out what it is they want. And by this point, of already asking these questions, a lot of the time the employer is going to stress exactly what it is they need from you. So if they have a specific task that they need you to do, most time employers are going to ask, are you capable to do this? Are you capable to do that? Immediately, don't even hesitate. Yes. And say that you're able to do it with precision. You're able to do it with excellence. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, let them know in the most simple but not overcomplicated way that you're able to do the task that will be given to you. Because sometimes you'll see a lot of people go into an interview and they're like, well, I'm not able to do that, but I'm, blah, blah, blah. No, let them know, even if you don't know how to do it, that you're able to learn to do it and that you're wanting to do it. Because if you sit there and say that you don't know how to do it, it shows that, okay, he doesn't really know what he's doing. It's going to take time to teach him. A lot of the time, these employers want to find people that are either easy to teach or already know. So just kind of a side note, another thing is, especially with like my specific situation, a marketing or sales kind of job, that's kind of what I'm doing right now is, bust some jokes. I know this sounds really cliche, but try to throw in some humor. When I did my interview, I honestly felt like there was a lot more laughs than there was talking about, the job itself, because I already basically knew what I was in for. So being able to just kind of become comfortable with that employer is then going to go to his boss and say, hey, this guy was a really great candidate. We had a really good conversation. He understands the process. He knows what he needs to do. He's here to learn, right? And a lot of times, even just that alone, like I said, because it's all about how the employer puts your name down in front of his boss. And even just, the guy's funny, he's a cool dude. Like, even sometimes these employers are willing to slack on their words or even willing to just throw out, non-professional things, right? And when an employer goes to his boss and is saying something like, oh, this guy's cool, he's a good guy, like he's eager, like whatever, right? That shows that like, wow, this guy made such a good impression on my employer that he was able to come to me and be like, hey, this guy is, he's what we want. He's what we need. He has a good attitude, right? Like it's just perfect. So if you're able to get that out of the way, all the stuff that I just covered now, you're pretty much already in there. If you're not, and there's a bit of like hanging going on in the room where it's just kind of in the air, chances are you might be either underqualified or you actually could be overqualified for the job. And most times you're going to be underqualified. I don't really think there's a specific job where you're going to be too overqualified to where they won't give you the job. But, if you're underqualified and they are kind of seeing that, that could just do with they did a record check on you. They did, the experience check, just be like, okay, he's worked here. Yeah. All right. Right. They're going to go over the details that you're not talking about. And chances are they see that they're like, okay. But most of the time, that will actually be after the interview. I know a lot of jobs do background checks after the interview. Some specific jobs do it before. And like I said, chances are if they're doing it before, you have already not gotten that, opportunity to have the interview. You were already told no, right? So it's like if they do end up, letting you know, hey, this isn't going to work afterwards, there's nothing you can really do in that situation. Don't beat yourself up about it. Get to the next job or get to the next, step in the right direction just for, where you want to be. So yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Like I said, if you guys have an interview that's coming up, just try to imply some of these things in this video. And I promise you, you will do great. Like I said, unless you're underqualified to an extreme, you're going to do awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video, guys. As always, if you like it, drop a like. If you want to see more, drop a sub. And that's going to be it. Peace.